I recently released like a beat of me just kind of saying how fell back in love with music and production. And yeah, I got comments like this, and it just made me really sad. And I just kind of wanted to talk a bit about it. I wasn't planning to make an artist diary because I'm so tired and preparing for this tour that I'm about to do in Japan. You can find all the info in the link down below, and also here's the poster to check out. But yeah, I wasn't planning to make an artist diary, but I posted this post because recently I had this long chat with some close friends of mine, and yeah, it kind of just woke me up and just kind of made me fall back in love with music again. Yeah, like really fall back in love with music, where you just make it because you like it, like purely. Yeah, and I saw a ton of comments like this, and it made me feel really sad. And I just wanted to make this video, kind of to just touch and talk a bit about that topic. I'll play some music in the background, kind of make it a vibe and stuff. But yeah, this is kind of like a real artist diary where I'm talking about being an artist. And I feel like a lot of us musicians, artists, whoever's chasing something creative, I feel like a lot of us, we tend to feel stuck, or we kind of lose our fire, kind of lose the joy of doing it in the first place. And I feel like maybe this is caused because we're distracted, or just because like the whole intention and the whole point behind it kind of feels like it's taken away from you. Not that it's ever intentional or anything, it just kind of happens. Like with time, as time goes on, you know, you get different distractions, you have different goals in mind, like you either want a bigger following, or it's usually external, you know, you always want to please somebody else, so that you start forgetting about, you know, yourself. And I feel like a lot of us feel like that is the what's the word, that's a formula to success. And I'm not saying I know everything, but I don't really see the point in doing that whole thing. You know, what's the point of the success if you're sacrificing the joy you had starting in the first place? Because then what's the point? So I just kind of wanted to make this kind of just to tell everybody that, like, or tell my fellow artists and creatives that when you're put in a position where you feel like you're now doing this for somebody else, and you feel like you're thinking of someone else when you start making music, I think it's okay, but I don't think you should make that your default. I think you should be able to switch that on and off. And I feel like the best creatives out here are the people who are able to make music that pleases themselves, and also because it pleases them. And I also want people to understand that, like, when you make music and you're just vibing with it, or when you're making something, anything creative, and you're just loving it for just purely loving it, keep that. And realize that because you have that joy and because you have that emotional connection to the piece that you're making, that means someone else in this world, and thanks to social media, everything, we're able to find those people. So yeah, this is basically saying, like, don't listen to the haters or whatever. But it doesn't necessarily have to be haters that are the ones that are giving you boundaries, or making you feel, you know, like they could be fans too, you know. It's, yeah, sorry, that's my speaker. But just make sure that the kid or the adult or whoever started making this music, that listened to it and just fell in love with it at maybe 3 a.m, hold on to that and be able to balance between knowing what everyone else likes and what you like. And I feel like that's where the most successful people are. They're making music that might be so crazy and so weird, but in the world where there are people and musicians or artists or just listeners who hear it and they actually get the exact same feeling the artist has, those fans will never leave. And I think that's the best form of success. This year has been really crazy for me. I honestly have chosen not to be super transparent, and I actually was a bit worried about doing this whole thing, but I feel like what I say might help some people out there. Like, even though I release music and I'm so happy and I'm so grateful for being able to perform it and being able to have people actually listen to it or connect with it. It blows my mind, honestly. It just doesn't make any sense to me because it's something I made in my room at night, or like in my room after I ate like ramen. It's just something like I just made because I was feeling it, feeling that's out. Please go check it out. And I just really loved it. And there are people out there that love the music too. But anyways, I forgot what I was trying to say. But basically, yes, even though I'm in this position where I'm lucky enough to have such amazing fans and like people that actually care about me and that I've never met, having that, I still find myself like on a regular basis, I guess I would say, like not being confident or just not feeling happy or hopeful with my art, feeling like I don't think I'm a songwriter, I don't think I'm a producer, I don't think I'm an artist even. Like, I don't know what's the point. I could be at the top or I could be at the bottom and I'd still feel the same. I'd still ask myself the question, like, why am I even doing this? Like, I'm not even loving it anymore. And that's happened a lot for a long time. I feel like this is normal, and I feel like for musicians who create art and make art, to express themselves and they put it out for people to react, to get feedback, yada, 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 we will always have this doubt. I feel like also Charlie Puth said this and I heard him say it and I was like, yeah, like that's a given. Like, just don't forget about the person that loved making the music when you started it. Because when I started making music, I didn't think that was possible. Like, when I started, I didn't think that would be possible to fall out of love with the thing that gave you most joy. And I feel like for most creatives out here who are doing the thing that brought them joy as also now their job, or something they do now more for work, you get that fine line between the balance is kind of gone. So yeah, I actually let me bring up my EP. I made this EP with best producers I've ever worked with, Joe Bae. And it's called 3 a.m. I'll also put that in my link in my bio. Please go check it out. And that was the first time I ever made a song. That was the first time I made a project just completely free. And by that I mean, I felt like because of Joe's skills and everything, and because of the ideas I were having at the time, sky was the limit, literally, with everything I made. And having that, I purposely made that EP to set a new standard, a new chapter, and also to basically make anything I want, anything I felt that I wanted to express. Not about anything that was cool. Maybe if I loved an artist, maybe I'd reference them. It was never about, trying to please someone else or trying to impress somebody else. It was all just because like, oh, we thought that was cool. I remember having sessions. We literally worked on that EP for 6 months because it just had to like have everything we wanted it to have. We just loved it so much and every moment where we discovered something new, or every moment where we were like, yo, that's so cool, was absolutely pure. There was no moment where we were like, fans would love that, or like there were no moments where like, oh yeah, we bet like artists or people in Asia would really vibe with that, It was just like moments where we were just like, ooh, you see this transition like in Her Shadow, where we think this drop is really sick, or we came into issues or came into roadblocks and stuff, and we just figured that out. And once we did, we were like, wow, like that's so crazy, and we would just be so filled with joy because we're just doing this, and we're just doing all of this just because we love it. And like I said, it took us 6 months, so we were tired, and I honestly need to advertise it more. But we were exhausted after that because, I mean, it was such a journey, like making something that we truly wanted to make out of pure joy, and we didn't ever want to deviate from that. But yeah, I mean, being a creative and gaining traction and stuff, that becomes it becomes a little tricky because I feel like you have to find like a balance between pure joy, a balance between your artistic intent and also just the industry. I feel like that's just what happens when you want to make a mark in the industry specifically. I remember when I started posting beats a lot at the beginning of my TikTok phase. Oh my goodness, I'm just gonna talk about one more thing. But I remember when I started posting beats like at the beginning of my TikTok phase, and I was really lucky to have a lot of traction at that point. But I remember when I was posting beats at the beginning, it was because I just loved it. Every beat I put out there was super authentic, just out of joy. Maybe I was inspired by other tracks and stuff like that, but the fact that I could even make it and that people were actually singing on it I wasn't really focused on the people singing on it, even though I'm extremely honored. But even just making the track alone, locked in my room, COVID, I made something that I was, I actually vibed with and I was really proud of, And I feel like that's why it did so well. Not only just because it vibed with me so much, but also because, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I just truly loved it. I think that's why I did so well. And as I continued, I felt like I was making beats for the sake of making beats. And yeah, it was very tiring. And I definitely fell out of making music at that point. And then I fell back in love with it when I started releasing music and stuff. I guess my focus changed. But then just until recently, like after having a great conversation with my friend, I just sat down and I just produced music that I had no intention of. I made a random jazz thing that I'll post soon that I hope you guys can sing with. I'd love to check that out. Just starting to fall back and like loving the process, and loving the vibe, and loving everything. Because I feel like, I got a bit lost in the sauce, and I feel like everyone does, and that's completely normal. So I'm just making this video for every creative and every artist, every person out there who is doing something that once brought them joy, but now is kind of feeling more like work. Just make sure to just look at the stuff that you're making and just think like, is this really good? Is this really what I would say I'd be proud making? Is this something like when I listen to it or when I look at it or when I think about it, like I feel like proud, but completely not in the sense that it's because of external, because of this. It's just if you're proud and if you're happy, So thank you so much for listening to me talk. Anyone who's watching this video, I hope this video helps. All of us are trying to figure it out. This is what I wanted Artist Diaries to actually be. And if you guys are in Japan, I'd love to meet you guys. Plug the links and everything down below, including the EP and the tickets. So I hope you have a great day or a great night. I have no idea. It is 1 a.m. right now. And thank you for listening. Bye guys.